What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Burgundy Boss Podcast, NFL Primetime Edition, season finale, the real finale, the final game of the regular season. Wow, what a game it was, man. This thing was exciting. This had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Oh, man, just got done watching it. This thing was crazy. There were so many outcomes. I mean, Raiders fans on the edge of their seat, Charger fans on the edge of their seat, Pittsburgh fans on the edge of their seat. Like, this thing was crazy. Before we get into it, like the video, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. And hit the notification bell. Okay, so we got a Sunday night matchup between the Raiders and Chargers in this one, all right? Raiders, I said you must run the ball effectively. We know Derek Carr can and cannot be clutch at times. So I said returning Josh Jacobs, you're getting Darren Waller back. Put it on the back of Josh Jacobs and just pound the rock with Josh Jacobs. Keep the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands. For the Raiders defense, it was to force the Chargers to beat them with the run game. Well, they really didn't do that. Justin Herbert had a hell of a night. Justin Herbert once again proved why he is an elite NFL quarterback. For the Chargers offense, I said, expose the Raiders secondary. They were banged up. They were thin at secondary. Like, they were rotating in. They were, their starting corner was Brandon Faison. And he came out, and you had to see some Desmond Trufant in this game. For the Chargers D, I said the Chargers D must make Derek Carr beat them, because if there's one thing that they lack right now, and it's weapons, it is weapons for this Charger team. And they have got to get some weapons here in this offseason. But man, this is exciting, folks. This is an exciting game. That was a bang. That's how you end the NFL regular season right there. Holy cow. Let's get into it. So those were my keys to the game. First note is Carr has to be smart with the football in this game. And early on, he was throwing some ill-advised throws into super tight windows, and I wasn't sure what Derek Carr were getting. But then next thing you know, the Raiders jump out to this lead. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, into the first, they were up 10-0. And they were still up 17-14 at half. But they got off to a little bit of a lead. It was like, okay, here we go, Raiders. You got this. Lock this thing down. Go to the playoffs. And, to counteract that too, it seemed like the Chargers just could not get things right. First off, I need to point out something the Chargers did in this game that was ill-advised. First off, you have two grade A pass rushers on that Oakland D-line. You've got Yannick Ngakoue and you've got Max Crosby. Both are top 5 in total pressures on the year. And you're gonna leave both of your tackles, both rookie tackles, on an island. I get it. You got Rashawn Slater. He's playing Pro Bowl level ball right now. He was your first round pick. You trust and believe in him. But really, you're going to leave Storm Norton over there by himself to fend for himself against Max Crosby? I mean, you're asking for Justin Herbert to get his tail whipped in the backfield every single play by doing that. You should have running backs chipping. You should have tight ends chipping. You could be doubling guys. There's so much that you could be doing to help Storm Norton out, and you're not. You're just saying, go figure it out. Take your lumps. So I had to get that little bit out of the way. My next note is Uchenna Nwosu, not Bosa, is terrorizing Derek Carr. And he was, too, for that whole first half. He was terrorizing. He was in Carr's face. He was knocking him down. He stripped the ball a couple of times. Uchenna Nwosu is becoming a very good NFL pass rusher before our eyes, and very under the radar, might I add. My next note, Chargers D is doing a good job forcing Carr to beat them. They're taking away Waller and Renfro, and they did. That's exactly what they did in this game. They said, you're not going to beat us with There were a couple of times that Renfro got loose and he did this or did that. I mean, I'll show you the totals real quick. Waller went 2 for 22 and Renfro went 4 for 13, but he had 2 touches. So that's what I'm talking about. They let him a little bit loose. They still let him score. He had the only receiving touchdowns for Oakland tonight, or Vegas. I'm sorry, Vegas. But it was a crazy game because you thought okay, Vegas has got this pretty well wrapped up. They just need to run out the clock, blah blah. And then Super Justin Herbert shows up to the show again, and he comes out and he is playing lights out. Like, he is proving to us why he is an elite level NFL quarterback. He is slinging it. He converts fourth down after fourth down after fourth down, just to get into scoring range. And then they convert a crazy, like, 4th and 22 that they needed to tie the ball game up at the very end of regular time. And he just launches. It's a 25-yard missile, and he puts it in the end zone on a dime, like, perfect ball thrown. Then they go to overtime. Oakland goes down and gets a field goal. Herbert, all right, he straps the helmet up. He's ready to go. He trots out there, and all you can think is, yes, this is where legends are made. These are the moments where legends are born. And he goes out there, and then they go down, and they only get a field goal. They're like, well, it's tied. Only about 4 minutes left. Those fans up in Pittsburgh who are praying for not a tie, those fans are kind of going nuts right now. They're kind of scared. And then Derek Carr does Derek Carr things. I want to say this. For all of the fans that think that Derek Carr is going to get traded, for all of the people out there that think Derek Carr is bound to be traded this offseason, just like they say every offseason, I don't think so, especially not after this performance. I think they're going to do everything they can to make sure he is a lifer for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I would not be surprised if they bring Bisaccia back and they sign him to a long-term deal as their head coach, because these guys are playing for him, and he has got these guys playing next-level football. They might play in a lot of close games, and, he might not be much better than a 500 coach, but, I mean, what can you ask for at the NFL level other than that? Like, yes, he's a special teams coach, so he doesn't exactly have a specialty, but I think Derek Carr can handle his own. Like, if he can just and he's got Gus Bradley running the defense for him, and I don't know. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if they bring him back. I mean, Herbert is up there, man. Herbert's got to be up there with the Mahomes, Brady, Roger. Like, he's up there. Burrow, he is up there with those guys, and he proved it tonight, man. Oh man, what I would do for a quarterback like Justin Herbert in Washington. I'm telling you, you can't make that stuff up. Like, they don't build 6'6" quarterbacks who are mobile and have a rocket arm. Like, they don't just come on trees. There's not one of them in every single draft. There's really not. And they took a big risk on him because he regressed when he went back to school. I mean, if you remember, Herbert was taken after Tua Tagovailoa, after Joe Burrow, after Chase Young. I mean, there were several guys. He was like the 10th pick in his draft. And so that tells you enough about what he looked like coming out of college. I mean, man, you got to feel for the Chargers. You got to feel for the Chargers because, Herbert threw the ball 64 times in this game. 64 times. But he only completed 34 passes. 383, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. And that pick I thought was going to seal the game at the end too. That pick was in the fourth quarter. I was for sure it was going to seal the game up when I saw that. Eckler, 16 for 64 and a touch. Average numbers. It's cool. Mike Williams. Let me tell you, I hope they re-sign Mike Williams. I don't know if they can sign Mike Williams, but I hope they do for their sake because he has balled out all year. I mean, he comes out in this one 9 for $119 and a touch. Like, He's 6'5", like yeah. He is what Washington fans thought that Cam Sims was. Like, not obviously not like to the same level. He was an undrafted guy. Michael Williams was a first round pick, but like what everybody sees that Mike Williams is how Washington fans view Cam Sims. That's all I'm going to say about that. Jared Cook having himself a night, going 4 for 80. Keenan Allen held content, 6 for 52. Not really, nobody really had a massive night for the Chargers. Then we hop over to the Raiders side. Like, even Carr had a mediocre night. 20 for 36, 186 and 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns went to Hunter Renfrow. Jacobs goes 26 carries for 132 yards and a touchdown. They heard what I said. They heard control the clock, and they tried to do that. Giving the ball to your running back 26 times does that. And watching him carry it for 132 yards does that. Like, you're using that philosophy, and you're trying to make it your route. So kudos to them, for being smart about that. Jalen Richard, man, that he had like a 3rd and 22 or 23. He converted, and it was all him. It was all muscle. It was a draw play. They just ran a draw play. They were going to try to get as many yards as they could. And he said, "Nah, F that." And he ran it, and he picked up the first. And he said, "First down, Raiders." Solid game. I mean, nothing crazy. Like, the Raiders just, like, they did enough. And it was really their defense stepping up, and it was really like Carr stepping up in moments, Renfrow stepping up in moments. Carr missed Zay Jones early, and that was a touchdown. He overthrew Zay Jones early. That was a touchdown easy. And then in overtime, right before they kicked the field goal, he overthrew Waller. He had Waller open in the end zone. That was game. So I'm seeing that consistency with Carr, that he tends to overthrow his guys. I mean, this was one hell of a game. Like, there's nothing else I can say about this game, but it was a hell of a game. And it's insane because all the things that the Raiders have gone through this year, with the emails coming out about Gruden. And then you've got the whole Henry Ruggs situation. And then right after the Henry Ruggs situation, you've got another player who's getting arrested or whatever. And then you release him, and, that's a distraction. And then just a couple weeks ago, you have another player who's arrested for DUI. That's another distraction. It's just like bam, 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 bam. I don't know that there's a team that had more adversity they faced this year than the Vegas Raiders. Like, kudos to the Vegas Raiders. Hell of a job this year. You made the playoffs. Pittsburgh on that side, man, you guys have dealt with a lot of adversity as well. But you drew Kansas City. You got Kansas City in the first round of the playoffs. That's tough. Number 2 seed Kansas City. Mahomes playing hot ball right now. It's a tough ask for Pittsburgh. I got to feel for Big Ben, too. You got to think that they're going to bring everything they have for Big Ben, because we all know this is his last kind of rodeo. This is the last little hoorah that Big Ben's going to get to go on. So he's had a great career. Kudos, Big Ben. The playoffs are going to be fun to watch. I mean, if this was any indication of how the playoffs are going to go, playoffs are going to be fun to watch. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is another episode of the Burgundy Boss Podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe